I need to say something about that peptide serum on your bathroom counter. There's a real chance it's not doing what you think it is. Not because peptides don't work, they absolutely do, but most people are buying the wrong type for their concern, using it in the wrong step, or chose a formula where the peptide can't actually penetrate the skin. A peptide that can't penetrate your skin is just a very expensive way to moisturize, which is fine, but that's not what you paid for. Today I'm fixing all of that, every meaningful peptide category, what the evidence actually says, how they compare to growth factor serums, and exactly which ones belong in your routine based on your specific concern. Hi, I'm Dr. Mamina, triple board certified dermatologist with a focus on longevity-based skin health. Peptides are one of my favorite topics because unlike a lot of skincare ingredients, the research is actually there. You just have to know where to look. If you're new here, I'd love to have you hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. I make dermatology content that explains the why, not just the what. Now let's get into it. What are peptides and why do they work? A peptide is a short chain of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins like collagen and elastin. Short chain is a peptide. Long chain is a protein. So that's the whole category system. And here's why topical peptides actually work. When collagen breaks down, it leaves behind fragments, and your skin reads those fragments as a distress signal and ramps up collagen production in a response. Essentially, your skin sees broken collagen and it panics. So we're exploiting that panic. This is the science. Synthetic peptides mimic those fragments that we're talking about and trigger the same repair response without the actual damage. So that's the elegant part. The catch is that the peptide molecule has to be small enough to penetrate the skin barrier to do anything. And formulation quality really is everything, which is why you can't just look for peptides on a label and call it done. Category 1 are signal peptides for collagen production. Signal peptides are basically sending a text to your fibroblasts that say, hey, we're running low on collagen, can you make more? And your fibroblasts say yes. This is the most evidence-backed peptide category and where most people should start. First, there's Matrixyl, what's known as palmitoyl pentapeptide 4. This is the original Matrixyl. It has independent clinical data on collagen stimulation and wrinkle reduction, not just manufacturer studies, and it's been around long enough to be well understood. If you want the foundational, no-frills signal peptide with a real track record, this is it. The next one, which is kind of an upgrade, is Matrixyl 3000. This is palmitoyl tripeptide 1 and palmitoyl tripeptide 7. These are two peptides working together. One signals collagen production and then the other one dials down the inflammatory response that destroys it. So that anti-inflammatory piece is underappreciated and really important. The clinical evidence is really strong and the price point is accessible. One of my favorites that uses is the Paula's Choice Peptide Moisturizer. And then the Dr. Whitney Bowe Beauty P46 Serum also contains the full Matrixyl 3000 complex plus additional peptides. Then there's Matrixyl Synthe ‘6. This is palmitoyl tripeptide 38. This is the most advanced Matrixyl generation. It doesn't just stimulate collagen 1 and 3, it actually supports 6 structural matrix components simultaneously, including collagen 4, fibronectin, laminin, and hyaluronic acid. So if I had to pick one signal peptide for somebody who wants the most comprehensive option available right now, this would be it. You could look for it in the timeless Matrixyl Serum. It's very affordable and widely available. The ordinary Matrixyl 10% plus HA serum also has it. Next are copper peptides, or GHK-Cu. So this one is a genuine workhorse. It supports wound healing, skin remodeling, collagen synthesis, and it also has anti-inflammatory activity. It also shows up in scalp products because the hair follicle data is solid, which makes it one of the few ingredients that earns its place in both skin and hair routines. A product that I like that incorporates this is the Ordinary Multipeptide and Copper Peptides 1%. This is really an accessible entry point. I also really like the copper peptide products with the brand NIOD, N-I-O-D. And the Drunk Elephant Protini also contains copper peptides, which is why that moisturizer performs the way it does. We're all a fan. Next is Progeline. This is trifluoroacetyl tripeptide 2. This one is newer and genuinely underappreciated. It targets the progerin pathway. This is a specific mechanism linked to cellular aging and loss of facial contour, which means that it addresses something the other signal peptides simply don't. If sagging and definition loss are a primary concern, this is something worth seeking out. You're probably though more likely to find it in clinical or professional grade formulations than on drugstore shelves, but it's worth looking for. Category 2, neuromuscular peptides. This category gets the most hype and the most misrepresentation in all of skincare. These peptides reduce the intensity of facial muscle contractions so it can soften expression lines over time. And they work through the same general pathway as Botox at the surface level. I will say this once, no topical is going to do what an injectable does. If somebody tells you otherwise, they're lying to you and they know it. With that said, consistent use in the right area with the right formula, these genuinely can do something. Just make sure that you're managing your expectations and they will meet them. First is Argireline, also known as acetyl hexapeptide 3 or 8. So this is the most studied peptide in this category. It can competes with a protein called SNAP25 involved in triggering muscle contraction, reducing the signal without blocking it completely. This is most effective on the forehead, the crow's feet, and the 11s, and the evidence is real, and I've seen consistent results with targeted daily use. Another peptide is called SNAP8. This is an 8 amino acid version of Argireline, and it's claimed to be even more potent at the same mechanism, and it's often paired with Argireline in the same formula for an additive effect, and if you see both on a label together, that's intentional and a good sign. Then there's Leuphasyl, which works through a different receptor than Argireline, but when combined with Argireline, you'll have a greater effect than either alone. Next is Syn-Ake, and this is dipeptide diaminobutyryl benzylamide diacetate. This actually mimics a peptide from temple viper venom that blocks acetylcholine receptors, reducing muscle contraction. Somebody put temple viper venom on their face and thought, yeah, that's a great idea, and it's going in a serum. But honestly, the data supports this. It falls in the same category as Argireline, but uses a different binding mechanism, and it's commonly found in eye and forehead treatments. One of my favorite topical serums that incorporate neuropeptides is Pteox. This combines acetylhexapeptide 8 with trifluoroacetyltripeptide 2, specifically targeting forehead lines and crow's feet through 2 different mechanisms. And this dual approach gives it more range than single mechanism options. SkinCeuticals Pteox is definitely one of my go-tos for neuropeptide serums. And there's category 3, which are carrier peptides. Carrier peptides deliver trace minerals, primarily copper and manganese, deep into the skin to support the enzymatic processes involved in healing, antioxidant defense, and structural repair. I look at carrier peptides as like the interns of the peptide world. They really don't get credit, they just quietly deliver the minerals and keep everything running. GHK-Cu does double duty here as both a carrier and a signal peptide, part of why it's one of the most valuable peptide ingredients in the entire category. Now let's talk about growth factors versus peptides, because both of those ingredients come up a lot in skincare. So just as a reminder, peptides are short, targeted amino acid chains that send specific messages to specific cells, whereas growth factors are larger, they're more complex protein molecules that broadly stimulate cell regeneration, collagen production, and wound healing. I would say the growth factors are kind of like the private school of skincare. Are they better? The data says yes. Are they worth it? And that's between you and your bank account. They're derived from human fibroblast conditioned media, plant stem cell technology, or recombinant sources. 3 brands that lead the space with meaningful clinical data are the SkinMedica TNS Advanced Plus Serum. This is the OG longest track record. It's been around since the late 90s. There's also the Neocutis Bioserum Firm. This has growth factors plus peptides, and it has a strong clinical data on firmness and density. Each of these has slightly different mechanisms and price points. None of them are cheap. Please see above regarding private school. And one honest caveat, there is an ongoing scientific debate on whether growth factor molecules are too large to fully penetrate your skin barrier. Some researchers argue the benefits come from surface level signaling rather than deep dermal penetration. My take, I think the clinical results are real and consistent. I recommend them because they work. And post-procedure is when the evidence is clearest. And then exosomes, that's a whole separate video. The science is genuinely exciting, and I'll be covering it soon. Subscribe so you don't miss it. So how to choose by skin concern. You wanna match the concern to your peptide. For fine lines and surface texture, I'm a fan of Matrixyl 3000 or Matrixyl Synthe’6. This you can find in Paula's Choice Peptide Moisturizer. You can also find it in the timeless Matrixyl Synthe’6 Serum. If you're in Sephora and you want something that you can grab today, Drunk Elephant, Proteini, it's not a single peptide product, but the Signal peptide complex is solid, and it's one of the most well-formulated options on the shelf. If you want to work on firming and loss of elasticity, copper peptides plus Progeline are your best tools here. You want to look for GHK-Cu for overall remodeling and structural support, and Progeline for contour and the Progerin aging pathway specifically. Allies of Skin multi-peptide and growth factor serum covers both mechanisms, plus growth factor support in one formula if you want a single product approach. If you want to work on expression lines like on your forehead, your crow's feet, or your 11s, you want to look for Argireline paired with Leuphasyl for the synergistic dual receptor effect. SkinCeuticals Pteox if you want the most targeted forehead and crow's feet treatment. Post-procedure, laser, peel, microneedling, this is where growth factors are most clearly justified, along with peptides. And the options I recommend are the Elastin Regenerating Skin Nectar. This is peptide led with growth factor support with Trihex technology. Like I mentioned, the Neocutis Bioserum Firm, which has growth factors with peptides, and then the SkinMedica TNS Advanced Plus. And if you're looking for an all-in-one product, the Allies of Skin multi-peptide and growth factor serum covers signal, neuromuscular, and growth factor support in one formula. This is the most comprehensive single product option I can can point you to. And just a note on application. Peptides go on clean, slightly damp skin after cleansing but before heavier moisturizers. Do not layer them directly with exfoliating acids in the same step. Acids can lower the skin's pH in a way that destabilizes peptide molecules and reduces absorption. I would use them in separate steps or on alternating days. This is the most common and most fixable mistake I see in peptide routines. Peptides are one of the most evidence-backed categories in skincare. The reason most people aren't getting results isn't that they don't work. It could be the wrong peptide, the wrong formula, or the wrong layering order. The ingredient never had a chance. Please save this video, and the next time you're standing in Sephora holding Drunk Elephant Protini, wondering if it's worth it, it's here. Everything I recommended is linked below, organized by skin concerns, so you can go straight to what applies to you. If this helped you, please share it, put a like on it. A like helps us reach more people, and if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the kind of content I make. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.